WWDC24 just finished, and here's everything that you missed and all the new software and features that were announced. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Apple started WWDC with an epic intro, which is one of my all-time favorites. After the intro, they announced Vision OS 2. It allows spatial photos to be taken now with the cameras of the iPhone 15 and also cameras that were announced by Canon and Blackmagic Design, which they announced in the keynote. SharePlay also got a huge upgrade, and you can now actually see the person next to you when you're sharing content, which is really nice to see. Also, for your Mac virtual display, there's an ultra wide setting, which you can see your monitor in an ultra wide view, which is really cool. You can now use your hand, you just stick out your hand to access home view, and you flip over your hand to view the weather and things like that. It's these really neat features that makes the Vision OS experience much better and much more fluid. There's also a new environment called Bora Bora, which is nice to see Apple adding these environments in. When you're immersed in Vision OS, you can also see your Magic Keyboard or MacBook keyboard, which makes typing way easier. Also, Apple announced the Vision Pro globally, including the United Kingdom. Next, let's talk about iOS. This is a major software released by Apple with tons of redesigns and much more. Firstly, let's talk about customization. Apple now allows apps to be placed on a grid, and you can place apps freely on your home screen in a grid layout. This means that you can move apps freely into its place without it being next to an app, which is nice to see. When you turn on dark mode, your icons also turns dark, which is aesthetically really pleasing. Also, you get tinting app icons, which allows you to tint the app icons according to your wallpaper. You also get a redesigned control center with rounded corners and much more. You get multiple pages now, such as your favorites page, your home page, and your music page. Also, on your home screen, you can now change those two camera and flashlight buttons into separate things, such as notes. Apple also announced some privacy features, such as locking apps on your iPhone or hiding your apps into a locked folder. They also improved the Messages app, such as improving tapbacks. You can also schedule messages, which is handy for birthday messages and much more. There are also some new text effects, such as the blown away effect, and you can also message via satellite, and you can underline bold and italic text. For Mail, it allows on-device categorization and a redesigned Mail app. It now categorizes your mail, and it gives you separate pages based on recommendations. With the old name drop technology, the NFC technology, you can now tap to pay other people using the same technology or name drop. The Photo app's got a major redesign, which has a brand new layout, and it allows for new AI features, Apple Intelligence, which we'll talk about later, and also it categorizes your different photos for a better access. It also shows new collections such as time, people, or memories, which is nice to have a quick access. The AirPods also got some brand new neat updates, such as voice isolation for video calls, and also you can, for Siri, you can nod to say yes to Siri and shake your head to say no to Siri, which is a really surprising feature. I'll skip past most of the tvOS stuff because I don't use an Apple TV, but they announced some new features such as a TV Insight to show you the actor or music, and some new Apple TV features. For watchOS 11, there's now a training load, which analyzes your workout data to see that how much effort you're putting into your workouts, and it gives you motivation and much more. There's also a Vitals app, which allows you to see all your data that is important in a glance. They also improved the photo watch face to include more fonts, customization, and much more. With iPadOS 18, you get roughly the same features as iOS 18. You get a floating tab bar, which shows more like a Vision OS styled theme. And believe it or not, you finally get a calculator. And they also announced a new feature called Math Notes, which will analyze your handwriting and turn them into calculations, which gives you an answer based on your handwriting. You can insert graphs, you can change variables, and it's such a powerful tool for students or when you're studying maths. They also use some new AI features such as Smart Script, which automatically corrects and improves your handwriting using AI. And you can also paste text and they'll paste in your handwriting style. Other apps such as Notes also got a small update, such as collapsible sections. One last software that was announced was macOS Sequoia. That is the latest version of macOS, and it brings some new features. With continuity, you can now mirror your iPhone to your Mac, which allows you to do your iPhone tasks on your Mac. And you can also receive notifications from your iPhone to your Mac. They also included some new features such as the snapping windows, which automatically kills any third-party apps such as Rectangle, which does the exact same thing, which snaps your apps into like one half, the second half, or the top corner. It also introduces new passwords app, which allows you to see all your passwords in one app, and you don't have to go to settings or Safari for that. Talking about Safari, Safari is apparently now faster, and it's like 40% faster than Chrome. And it highlights, which gives you summaries, directions and music when you visit a web page. It also improves the reader, which gives you more information and more accessible information in a glance. For gaming, they announced some new apps such as the Assassin's Creed franchise and Resident Evil, but not a lot coming from this macOS version, which heads us to the next part, Apple Intelligence. Of course, Apple being Apple, they used AI and defined it as Apple Intelligence, and the compatibility struck me. It's only available with the iPhone 15 Pro with the A17 Pro chip and the M1, M2 and M3 chip. Not even the iPhone 14 Pro supports these new Apple Intelligence features, which I think is just stupid. I think this has to do with performance because all these Apple Intelligence features are done mainly on device, which means that it takes up lots of performance, and the A17 Bionic and the Apple Silicon chips are really capable of doing that. But the older chipsets aren't that great, so it will cause your performance to slow down and much more. Using AI, it gives you priority notifications to tell you what notifications are important and filter out the non-important notifications when you don't need them. For images, you also get AI generated images and AI emojis, which I think looks quite hilarious, and it doesn't look that nice. Using Apple Intelligence, you can now ask Siri to retrieve things that you saw earlier, and it's basically like the Apple version of Microsoft Copilot in the new Surface PCs. You can now ask Siri about a text that you saw earlier, and Siri will remember that. I think that's how it works. Siri is more personal and it's more integrated with your system, and it allows for stuff such as conversational context, and you can also type to Siri. And what I mean by conversational context is that you can continue a conversation with Siri, and it will use the information you provided earlier to answer any questions you ask, which is such a good feature to have. It also has knowledge about Apple services such as AirDrop. You have a problem with that, just ask Siri and it will give you troubleshooting steps or information about it. Apple Intelligence also allows some new features such as the Google version of the Magic Eraser, which erases unnecessary objects from your photo, which I think it's about time Apple implements this in its native app. With its enhanced language capabilities, you can summarize an entire lecture in seconds and get the short version and maybe a friendly version of the things that you're saying in an email. They also announced that ChatGPT will be integrated in Siri, which means that you can opt in for services by ChatGPT, and you can ask Siri and it will ask for a prompt if you want the response to be processed by ChatGPT. And if you tap yes, it will use GPT-4 to answer your question. So that's basically a short summary of the event. If you have any comments or anything that you want to add, feel free to add them in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video. Peace out.